Every live lesson you come to is going to have an essential question which tells you what you're going to be learning for the day in general. In addition, more specific objectives will be discussed before the live lesson begins, and the objectives just tell you what you need to have learned by the end of the live lesson. You'll be provided with a link for some notes. They're a note-taking template you can use during the live lesson to help shorten some of the information you might write down during the live lesson and also contain some of the key information you'll need from the live lesson. You're also welcome to take your very own notes. You do not have to use the link provided, but here's an example of what those notes might look like in your live lesson. Every live lesson is going to have a variety of instructional methods used to help students learn the material, including lots of opportunities for practice. Now, practice can come in many forms. Sometimes it'll be whole class responses, sometimes it will be multiple choice, sometimes it will be fill in the blank, and sometimes it will be individual responses where students do not see each other's responses, but I'll be providing feedback to each and every student individually while they work out the problems and provide their answers. Now take a look at this clip as it's about to start. Watch the transition as they start to work the multiple choice question kind of as a warm-up. Notice that the chat pod disappears and the Q&A pod appears. And what a student's going to see is just that. They're going to see the Q&A pod. They'll have a place to type in their answer, and only the student can see the answer that they're putting in and the teacher. So once I receive that answer provided by that particular student, I can provide feedback that, again, only that student is able to see. So it's a private way to get feedback in a safe environment to try out problems, even if you're not 100% certain on how to work out the problems. Oftentimes in instruction, I'll notice that students come up with some answers that show some thinking that we want to explore together as a classroom. So we'll break away from the prescribed live lesson to take a little bit of time to explore those questions. Let's see what happens when we have negative 2x plus 2x combined and when some students provide a variety of answers for that question and how I respond inside of the live lesson. 2x and a minus 4y, we can't combine them together. But Joshua, can I put something on the left side to cancel one of those out? Like, y'all, is there anything I can combine with minus 2x? And Dylan, I see your answer. Is there anything I can combine with minus 2x that will cause the minus 2x to cancel out? Another question would be, what can I combine with a minus 2x to give me no x's? Joshua, Ella, Lila, Lauren, you got it. If I put a positive 2x on this side of the inequality symbol, Lauren, I love it. Back to kitten math. Okay, if I put a positive 2x on this side with the minus 2x, what is negative 2x plus 2x? Joshua, Lauren, which one is it? Is it 0x's? Is it 1x? If you have negative 2x's combined with 2x's, ooh, good question. Is it 1x? Is it 0x's? Just x? Let's take a look at that real quickly because this is kind of important. There's multiple ways. We've been doing pictorial representations mostly, so why don't we do a pictorial representation of this? For those of you that are not 100% certain, were you comfortable with like the happy cat, sad cat thing last time? Like a happy cat and a sad cat meet together, they cancel each other out? Kitten math. You don't like the cat math? Okay, no worries. Let's do another representation then. Let's just use numbers so we can see it in a different way. What happens if I have a minus 1 and a positive 1? If you have a minus 1 and a positive 1, what do they combine to give you? So most of you are pretty good with that. A minus 1 plus 1 is 0. No worries, Lauren. That's why we're going over this, because this can be confusing. So there's multiple ways to look at this to hopefully help it make sense. What happens if I have, now this is a little bit of a weird question. Suppose I have -1 times some unknown number, and I add a +1 times that same unknown number. What would that be? -1 times some unknown number plus 1 times some unknown number. And it has to be the same number both times. Mostly zeros, maybe x. Okay, so we'll put a box there. We're not quite sure. Let's come back to that in a second. Suppose I have -1 times 10, and I have, where the division sum will come from, I have no idea. And I have a +1 times 10, and I combine them together, what do I get? A -1 times 10, I'll use a little star, I guess, for multiplication. A -1 times 10 and a +1 times 10, and I combine them together, what do I get? Well, that's the same thing as -10 plus 10. That's 0. Okay, what happens if I have -1 times 1,156 and a +1 times 1,056, and I combine those together, what do I get? -1 times 1,056 and +1 times 1,056, and I combine them together, what do I get? You got it, I still get 0. So what's -1 times some number plus 1 times the same number, whatever that number is? Should be 0. No matter what, you can fill that number in with anything you want. Kyler, I like the way you think about that. So it can be -1 times anything. In math, how do we usually represent an unknown number or a placeholder for a number? We don't usually say anything. Joshua, McKenna, Lauren, Lila, Dylan, you've got it. We use a letter, a variable. Ella, you got it. Some letter, usually x. So -1x and a +1x. -1 times some number plus 1 times that same number. And if you combine those together, y'all, what do you get? Dylan, Lauren, Lila, Joshua, you've got it. It's 0. There's nothing left over because that number can be anything and it doesn't matter. And after we've had instruction, we've had a chance to practice and work together, talk as a class about concepts. The end of the class is always an exit ticket. Sometimes it'll be an exit ticket slide that's been prepared, or it'll be a question that I made up on the spot, depending on what the students needed from the live lesson. So here's just an example of what it would look like to have an exit ticket for students to work as they say goodbye on their way out of the live lesson. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please reach out if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you all in class soon.